Hello everyone, welcome to Historians YouTube platform. Today we will be discussing about Indian historiography, its evolution, key historians and their contributions, what are the different ideological perspectives, and these all things through which the Indian historiography had been developing from the ancient time to the modern time. Okay, so the point is that what are we going to learn through this video in about 15 minutes. I will be telling you that what is the meaning of historiography and how do we start it. So when we firstly talk about historiography, historiography refers to the study of the writing of history, focusing on the methodologies, perspectives and biasness. The point is, what is the relevance of this video? We will understand historiographical traditions provides insights into the historical interpretations and its evolving perspectives. These all themes that we are going to understand today. Now, what will be the key topic that we will be discussing today? It should be ancient and medieval Indian history, colonial historiography, post-independence and subaltern histories. So, from the beginning to the last, we will understand each important topic. From each topic, we will be taking up some of the important historians also. And first of all, we will also see some of the important questions that had been asked in the exam. Some of the important questions that had been asked in the exam, let us have a look. These are the questions that had been asked in the UPSC exam that will further help you, and these similar questions are there in the other exams also in the universities. Question 1 talks about discuss the major approaches to the study of ancient Indian history with reference to Orientalist, Nationalist and Marxist historiography. Then question 2, critically examine the work of James Mill in shaping the historiography of British India. Question 3, analyze the contribution of nationalist historian in reshaping the understanding of India's ancient past. Okay, we have seen there few other questions were there related to this topic only. Discuss the emergence and the significance of subaltern historiography in writing Indian history. Then we have examined the importance of colonial historiography in understanding the economic history of India during the British rule. These are the major topics are there that we have to see in detail. Okay, so whatever we are going to understand in a brief video of about 15 minutes, we will be able to understand all these questions and we will be able to answer all these questions. Okay, so the point is that we will start from the ancient Indian historiography. Do you know the key feature of this one is predominantly religious and mythological narratives. Okay, they use epics, Puran and inscription as the historical sources. So these are the most important key feature of the ancient Indian historiography. Now the point is, what is the major example of the ancient Indian historiography? Let us have a look on this topic. Okay, so most important example that will include, especially this will be writing from ancient time. For example, the most important example we have the Kalhans Rajtarani, that is especially talking about the historical chronicle of Kashmir that was written in around 12th century AD. Second important book we have the 7th century Harshcharita, that is a biography of the King Harsh, and then we have Itihas Puran tradition. These are the important topics are there which especially talks about ancient Indian historiography. Otherwise, we have other important writings also like Kalidas, and we have other persons have written. These are the two major modern historians who argued that ancient Indians had a literary taste. Especially we have a R.C. Majumdar and Romila Thapar. You can see this one. Both the historians argue that ancient India had a very literate genre. Especially Romila Thapar argued that there were some religious writings were there, but again apart from the religious writing, we have the other writings also available that talk about the historical sense of Indians had. Now we will come to the medieval India. In the medieval India, key feature is that chronicles by court writers and historians, they focus on rulers, dynasties and conquest. If we talk about example, Al-Biruni Kitab al-Hind, detail and allowed analysis of Indian culture and sciences. We have Ziauddin Barni, Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi, a political history of Delhi Sultanate. Then we have Abul Fazl Ain-e-Nawawi, administrative details of Akbar life. So these are the major topics are there that talks in detail about the medieval Indian historiography. Now the point is that if I talk about other examples, है ना, ये तीन example के अलावा we have other examples also from this topic, है ना, apart from this one. Which example, like we have the apart from Ziauddin Barni, then we have Amir Khusro. Okay, then we have Abdul Hamid Lahari, Al-Badauni, है ना. So these are the major historians are there who have also written about medieval Indian history. So these writings have also a historical genre. We can't say that these people had no sense of history writing and all. Then we come to the modern historian who had argued that ancient Indian had really and medieval Indian had really a sense of historical traditions, especially Irfan Habib is a very good historian of medieval times, and then we have Satish Chandra. Both the historians argued that the medieval Indian historian, especially who were the part of the court writers, had a great sense of history writing, and their accounts are literally providing a very important source of information about the kings of the time. Then we come to the colonial historiography. What is the key feature? The feature is that these are the Eurocentric perspective, viewing India as a static and despotic. They emphasize on documenting India to justify the colonial rule. So their sense of writing was the same type of that, है ना. They try to use the word called Oriental despotism to understand Indian history. Now the point is that what is the major examples we can see, especially in the British colonial historiography. So we can see this period into two parts. One will be the Orientalist school, who romanticize view of India's past, especially for example we have the William Jones. His work of William Jones are very important one. So they see India as a very Orientalist perspective से देखते हैं. Then we have utilitarian school, especially they critique Indian culture and society, in which we have the person like James Mill, who has written history of British India. Then we have V.S. Smith, who has written early history of India. And these are the important historians are there. You can see this picture. In this picture you will find that we have Sir William Jones, James Mill and V.S. Smith. So initially first person is viewing India as a something cultural great. They focus on the Oriental learning, but whereas James Mill and V.S. Smith argued that no, there is a need of the Eurocentric learning for India, and ancient Indian had no sense of history writing. They treated by static. Even James Mill has written history of India into three parts: Hindu India, medieval Muslim India and British India. Then we come to the nationalist school. In the nationalist historiography, these people focus on the celebration of India's past to counter colonial narratives. They focus on ancient glories and the unity of India. These were the major perspectives. These are the schools which are developed in the late 19th century and early 20th century. Their main purpose especially had to raise the feeling of nationalism among the eyes and the hearts of the people. So basically these people focus on those sense of history writing. For example, the historians like R.C. Majumdar, he has written history and the culture of Indian people. Then we have K.P. Jaiswal, who has written Hindu polity. Vinay Damodar Savarkar, the first war of independence, Indian independence. And we have Jagannath Sarkar, who has written Fall of Mughal and the history of the Aurangzeb. Different type of books were written in this time, and main perspective of these historians had to glorify the ancient Indian historical traditions along with the modern perspectives. So here are these historians. You can see this one: R.C. Majumdar, Jagannath Sarkar, K.P. Jaiswal and V.D. Savarkar. The major perspective of this historian had to focus about especially the glorification of the India's past. Okay, and especially these writings were especially written in the views that the nationalist sentiments were arising, especially in the time of the freedom struggle in India. So a main perspective tha. Okay, now the new type of schools will come into existence, and this school came into existence in 1960s. This is known as a Marxist historiography. These people focus on the class-based analysis of Indian history. They focus on economic structure, caste and social operations. इनका मेन पर्सपेक्टिव था. These people have challenged the nationalist and the colonial perspective that they had overlooked on the issues of the peasants and workers. That is why these people focus on the class-based analysis of history writing, especially from the point of view of Karl Marx. इनकी एग्जाम्पल क्या है? D.D. Kosambi, he has written especially an introduction to the study of Indian history. Their other book is Myth and Reality. Then we have Romila Thapar, A History of India. Then we have Irfan Habib, Agrarian System of Mughal India. And then we have other historians also who have written from the modern Indian perspective से लिखा है, जैसे बिपिन चंद्रा हो गया, बहुत सारे और भी राइटिंग्स है ना. So these are the persons. Then we have Sumit Sarkar. So these are the major historians are there. They have written from the Marxist perspectives. ये 3 historians में सबसे important है. We have Didi Kosambi, Romila Thapar and Irfan Habib who have written from these perspectives of history writing student है ना. So I hope that you are able to understand this perspective. Now the point is that even these schools were lacking the all sense of history writing. That is why in the 1980s the new form of history writing had developed that I am going to discuss with you right now. Okay, this new school that is going to develop in the 1980s is known as a Subaltern historiography. Its key feature had to focus on the marginalized groups, non-elite perspective and grassroots movements पे ध्यान दिया इन्होंने. They were inspired by the Gramsci idea of subaltern and they focus on the history writing of those people who had been already marginalized in the Indian history है ना. ये इन पे ध्यान दिया, जैसे महिलाओं, पीजेंट्स, दलित, मुस्लिम, इन सब का पर्सपेक्टिव से इतिहास लिखना ये लोग शुरू करते हैं. नाउ द पॉइंट इज दैट हु आर द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एग्जाम्पल्स. सो रणजीत गुहा, एलिमेंट्री एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ पीजेंट इंसर्जेंसी इन कॉलोनियल इंडिया. देन वी हैव गायत्री चक्रवर्ती पेपर कैन द सबल्टन स्पीक. देन वी हैव दिपेश चक्रवर्ती, the provincializing Europe. These are the major perspectives are the writing through which the people had been writing. Do you know there is a series of the volumes had been published in the dozens by the name of the Subaltern studies from the 1980s onward, in which Ranajit, Guha, Dipesh, Chakrabarty, David Arnold है ना. Then we have Shahid Amin and other people are very important who had focus on all these perspectives. So this is what we have come to know right now. Now the point is that the new type of schools came into develop who is known as a postmodernist school, because before that subaltern school had also been criticized. So the postmodernist school had focused on a very different perspectives. Now let us have a look on this perspective that how are these people are going to see. So इसका key feature होता है these people criticize the grand narrative and focus on the localized history. Okay, these people focus on the interdisciplinary approach using the anthropology, sociology, literary theory and all है ना. ये इनके मेन पर्सपेक्टिव है. इस थ्योरी में सबसे बड़ा ध्यान होता है interdisciplinary approach बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ना. We should not only limit ourselves to the history writing only. History writing should include other perspectives also. इस थ्योरी में जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट स्कॉलर आपको मॉडर्न टाइम्स में देखने को मिलेंगे उनका नाम है पार्थ चटर्जी, स्पेशली एंड आशीष नंदी. सो पार्थ चटर्जी बुक इज दैट द नेशन एंड इट्स फ्रेगमेंट्स and Ashish Nandi book The Intimate Enemy are the major example of history writing that talks about in detail about the different perspectives. The student, I hope that you are able to understand this topic in detail. Now let us go to focus on the different perspectives. Okay, now let us have a revision of our topic. So we have seen ancient, medieval, colonial, nationalist, Marxist and subaltern school, and then postmodernist. So when I talk about especially ancient one, these people focus on the mythological and religious narrative. Then what is the prominent historian? Kalhan Banbhat. The key work are Rajsarani Harsarita from prehistory to the 12th century. Medieval में they focus on court writing. The historians are Al-Baruni. Then we have Abul Fazl and all. The major book are Kitab al-Hind and Anya-Kawari, 12th century to 17th century. Then we have colonial India. They focus on the Eurocentric approach, justification for the British rule. The major historians are James Mill, V.S. Smith and William Jones. The major book is History of British India and time period will be 18th century to 19th century. Nationalist people focus on glorification of India's past. R.C. Majumdar, V.D. Savarkar, Marxist में class based analysis. D.D. Kosambi and Irfan Habib. Subaltern में focus on this one, Ranajit, Guha and these writing. So as we have seen in the beginning that these are the major questions were there, and you will be able to answer all of these questions from the analysis that we have seen till now. I have not discussed in detail in this topic because we have to make this video within 15 minutes. So I had given you a brief background of the Indian historiographical perspective from the beginning to the last. Okay, if you need some of the video, then in the separate video I will be especially discussing about these questions in detail. Separate video का एक question का patterns मैं आपको बताया करूँगा and that will help you to answer this question. Okay, so in a separate videos in detail I will be discussing about nationalist historian, then we have James Mill है ना, orientalist historian, Marxist historian. So separate video I will make of about half an hour where I will be discussing about in detail about these all topic. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand this topic in a very 15 minutes. please feel free to comment whatever you wish here. Okay, and please like, share and subscribe our